Lake Garda is the largest lake in northern Italy. We're bringing you to 3 of the beautiful villages along the shores of this lake, visiting Garda town, enjoying a stroll on the lakefront promenade and the little winding lanes of the old town. Next to Bardolino, famous for its red wine, pedestrian lanes, and waterfront promenade. Then we'll visit Peschiera del Garda, with a fortified harbor built by the Venetians 400 years ago. Located in the southeast part of Lake Garda, just about 30 kilometers from Verona and 50 from Brescia. Garda is in the Lake District of northern Italy near the Alps. You can get around on Lake Garda by boat, as we did in our visit, coming in from Sirmione. Approaching the town of Garda, one of the first sights is this luxury hotel, Locanda San Vigilio, with just over a dozen rooms in a Renaissance villa. Some famous guests who took up residence include Napoleon, Tsar Alexander II, Winston Churchill, King Charles, and Laurence Olivier, featuring an outdoor cafe terrace and a deluxe restaurant, surrounded by a park with hundreds of cypress and olive trees and a big swimming pool. Located about 3 kilometers from Garda town, which has many other hotels in various price categories. Arriving at town in a boat gives you a lovely view of the tree-lined promenade with the marina out front. Our group enjoyed this chartered boat, but the public ferries pull into Garda about once every hour throughout the day, with stops at more than a dozen towns along the lakeshore. The town is known for its beautiful lakefront promenade, which is lined with cafes, restaurants, and shops. Visitors and locals alike can enjoy a stroll along this promenade while taking in the stunning views of the lake and the surrounding mountains. We'll see more of the promenade in a few minutes, but first we want to dive into these wonderful pedestrian lanes. It's a tangle of shopfronts and restaurants and homes up above. It gets busier in the summertime, but our visit was in October when it was nice and quiet and peaceful. The locals are out walking their dogs. The old town is quite small, with a length of just about 400 meters and extending inland just a few blocks. Population is only 5,000. This is one of the smallest towns in the whole province. You don't really need a map to navigate here. You can just wander at will. Here's the route that we navigated, walking along the lakefront promenade, then into a couple of blocks of these narrow pedestrian lanes with all the shops, and then back out again to the promenade, and then going in once again. You can go back and forth into town, then along the lake. And then we made our way out of here to go on to the next town, which will be Bardolino. My small group and I were visiting with the help of a local guide. This is part of our tour of northern Italy that we've been showing you, visiting many excellent towns, and Garda is certainly among the most beautiful. It's quite wonderful to walk through these stone-tunneled passageways that go right through the buildings. It's a densely packed town center, but it's all in a human scale. No high-rises or modern structures here. Even the smallest of the alleys are not dead ends. They connect through to other lanes, so you can just keep on walking. Brick arches are stabilizing the buildings. The return route towards the lakefront brings us back through another tunneled passageway. Now arriving at the main square, the Piazza Catulo, a nice open space with more shops and restaurants. Overall, Garda is a charming town with a rich history and plenty of attractions to keep visitors entertained. Whether you're looking to relax by the lake, explore the town's historic sites, sample some delicious Italian cuisine, or enjoy adventurous outdoor experiences, Garda town offers something for everyone. In addition to the old town, some of the other popular attractions in Garda include a big outdoor market every Friday, and there are wine tastings. You can visit one of the many local wineries in the area and enjoy a wine tasting experience, featuring the region's famous wines such as Bardolino and Valpolicella. You can explore the beautiful countryside around town by hiking or biking along one of the many scenic trails in the surrounding hills and mountains. There's also Gardaland for families and children, It's one of Italy's largest amusement parks, a short distance from town. Garda is situated in the province of Verona and the region of Veneto, with Venice located an hour and a half away by car. The old clock tower is one of the tallest structures here. Known for its excellent cuisine, visitors can enjoy a meal at one of the town's many restaurants serving traditional Italian dishes. Especially notable are the seafood meals, prepared with fresh fish caught right here in the lake. The earliest known inhabitants of the area lived in homes and villages right on top of the lake, built on stilts or piles over the water, a bit similar to this dock with a gazebo that we see today. These early lake dwellers were skilled in agriculture, fishing, and weaving, and they also traded with other cultures in the region, dating back to the Bronze and Iron Ages between 1500 BC and 500 BC. The first actual town on dry land dates back to Roman times when it was an important commercial center. By the 9th century, the town became so important that it ruled the entire area and the name of the lake was changed to Garda. About that time, a fortress was built up on top of the hill. Now you can walk up there for the view from 300 meters high. What had been most recently a fishing village is now a thriving tourist center. With a strong economy, you don't see any vacant shopfronts here. Nearby olive groves and extensive vineyards for wine are also important parts of their economy. That wraps up our short visit to Garda. We're having a busy day. We started earlier at Sirmione in a different video you can find, and now we're going on to Bardolino and Peschiera del Garda. You can get from Garda to Bardolino in 5 minutes on a city bus, or you could walk it in 45 minutes. Bardolino's Old Town is a charming maze of narrow streets, picturesque squares, and colorful buildings. Visitors can wander through these streets and explore the local shops, restaurants, and cafes. Bardolino is also famous for its namesake wine, which is made from the local Corvina and Rondinella grape varieties. Visitors can explore the town's many wineries and taste the delicious wines produced in the region. We have just walked into town along Borgo Garibaldi, which leads into a series of little twisted lanes and intersections and small piazzas, heading towards the waterfront. It's quite easy to get around because this is a pedestrian zone, and it's small, just about 400 meters long and 400 wide. You can see on the map the quick route that we're taking in our brief visit to Bardolino. Just walking down through the town to the waterfront, stroll along the Lungo Lago, and then back up into town and we depart. Passing through a few more short blocks with shops and restaurants, and that will lead us to the main piazza of town, Piazza Matteotti. This plaza is slightly unusual in that it is very long. It's wide like a boulevard, but there's no cars, of course. It's for pedestrians and lined with shops and restaurants the whole way, leading right down to the waterfront, as seen in the outline. The aerial view illustrates how small the old town is, with just about a half a dozen main lanes and little alleyways snaking through it, and you could easily spend a day here enjoying the town and the surrounding countryside. This fortified tower is all that's left of a castle and surrounding walls, partly built up by the Scala dynasty who ruled this area from Verona back in the 13th and 14th centuries. The origin of the town is remote, certainly dating back to 1000 BC with the pile-dwelling civilization building their homes in the lake up on stilts. Then later Roman occupation, followed by the Longobards, the Goths, and the Visigoths. Then Scaligeri, followed by occupation from Venice, which made Bardolino the center of the Venetian navy on the lake, which lasted till the end of the 18th century. Then Napoleon took over briefly and was replaced by Austrian control until 1866, when Bardolino became part of Italy. As we walk inland, we notice one of the major cross streets for shopping, Corso Umberto. And then we head out through an archway into a little bit more modern part of Bardolino. We are heading back towards the bus and we'll continue on to Peschiera Del Garda. First, we have one more important historic landmark to have a look at. One of the oldest churches in the region, San Severo. The church was built in the early 12th century in the Romanesque style and features a simple, elegant facade with a bell tower. It's open to the public for free, and you'll notice the rough stone facade much different than the later decorated Gothic facades and the Renaissance churches. But the interior is decorated with colorful frescoes that date back to the 12th through the 14th centuries. Back in the 9th century, an earlier church was built on this site on the ruins of a pre-existing temple. That completes our Bardolino visit. Now we're heading down to Peschiera del Garda. You can get there in 25 minutes by bus or 45 minutes by ferry boat. During the 15th through 17th centuries, the old town was protected by a series of massive walls that were built by the rulers of Venice who controlled this area at that time. These walls are a World Heritage Site as declared by UNESCO, which said they are of exceptional historical, architectural, and technological significance. Upon entering town, your first impression will be this beautiful marina with its outdoor cafes. It was part of the Venetian fortified harbor. Just next to the waterfront, you'll see Piazza San Marco with a beautiful building looking down on it. It's the Palazzina ex Finanza, built in the impressive neoclassical style in the early 20th century. The building was originally used as a barracks for the Italian finance police. Aerial view shows the piazza and the small cluster of little streets that we're about to wander through. These three islands created a fortified harbor for the Venetian Navy. At one time, Lake Garda was connected to the Adriatic Sea by canals that reached the rivers Adige and Po, but that was severed by the Venetians to cut off trade competition from Mantua. Of course, the history here goes back much further, back to the Bronze Age with those lake dwellers with their homes up on stilts and wooden piles. And then there's the Roman times when the town served as a major military outpost to protect the border of the Roman Empire. We can still see some of the remains of the stone foundation walls of a Roman village. During the Middle Ages, it was a strategic location that was fought over by factions including the Lombards, Venetians, and the Austrians, who were driven out in 1859 during the Second Italian War of Independence, when the town was besieged by General Garibaldi, leading shortly after to the unification of Italy. After wandering around through these picturesque little lanes, maybe do some shopping, get some refreshments, you walk through Porta Brescia and have a closer look at the walls. From the bridge, there's a fine vista showing how the lake forms a moat with those huge walls rising above to protect the harbor. And if you have time, you can walk along the walls and explore the various gates and towers. But we have run out of time concluding our visit to these three charming villages in the southeast shores of Lake Garda. There is more to discover at this lake with nearly 24 towns all around it. And these three places are among the best. We frequently upload new movies, so please subscribe to our channel and click that little alarm bell so you'll be notified. And if you enjoyed the movie, how about a thumbs up? And we always welcome comments down below. Or if you have questions about the destination, make note and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching.